The name is Dwight Conroy Farrell, internationally known as Count Bass D, and as the sign I'm standing in front of says, awesome since 1973. I'm a hip-hop recording artist. This vlog shows how I stay creative, and I go vinyl and CD shopping a lot. Subscribe to the channel, and always remember, the like button is my offering plate. It's my first time at this spot. It's not always about the vinyl or the CDs. Sometimes it's the objects that spawn deep memories. When I was in elementary school, a classmate named Alex Esper asked me to star in a horror film he was making, and he used a camera that looked just like this. And what's wild, my first video, Sandwiches, I think was shot on the same type of camera. You get to escape the recommendations and the algorithms when you show up and you're present in the record store. You also get to see things that's going to spark elements to make you rhyme better or write better lyrics. June Pointer, if she's there, probably I'm going to be showing you. She just seems so ride or die. This spot was solid though. I was looking through and I was catching a couple of nice little records, but I'm not really interested in buying too many records. I just like to check out and see what's around. If you see like a special ed debut album, you're in a solid quality spot. This Michael Peace album, when I was young and in the Christian bookstores, I would see it all the time, but I didn't think he was taking it seriously. But this record here, the Fat Boys album, I was 10, going on 11, and this record changed my whole world. This is what made me start wanting to participate in hip-hop culture. It was the easiest way in because you didn't need anything to be able to beatbox except your mouth. I got decent at it. This piece almost came home with me. Once you start going down the Egyptian Kemetic rabbit hole, it's endless. And that's how it feels like with this music thing. It represents that to me. This represents minding your business, the Three Wise Monkeys. I saw a whole collection of them. Wish I could have, got them and put them up in my space, but I'm not a hoarder. So as I'm preparing for some of my travels, I have to get all the things ready as a blood moon. I came to the salon like this, and you know the drill, I left like this. People always comment that I'm over 50 and I still have a hairline. They don't really pay much attention to my hair anymore. Oh, I'm on this record here, if you missed last episode. But when I'm buying these CDs and vinyl is just mainly for drums. But with the CDs, it's an asset. They're always worth more than what I paid for them. They remain the way I originally heard them, and they can't be altered. Toasted Coconut Polar Seltzer, that's my favorite right now. They're rare, but I hope my spot doesn't stop selling them. This is what a traffic jam looks like in my town. All due respect to the Amish, because they keep my area the way, at least in some semblance of how it was. I'm walking back into where our community pool is, and it's down right now, and it's going to be down for the summer. I'm hoping perhaps this summer I'll figure out, have my organization together and try to DJ some things to raise some funds for the Millheim pool, but that's just me being ambitious. I'm probably just going to be here in the workspace making more music, but I hope somebody can help me put something together to help our community. I hope also that the Amish stay around and continue to keep this area consistent the way it has been, but I suspect that the next generation, Generation Beta, maybe not Generation Alpha, but Generation Beta, is probably going to bounce on this whole idea because I see them playing around with a little bit of technology, and I don't know. I'm hoping for the best, but I think that they might walk away from the life and the aspects of it that keeps this area the way that it is. Took a walk at the Pennsylvania Military Museum, only to go to the thrift shop and then see vintage postcards of the Pennsylvania Military Museum. I should have bought it and sent one to somebody and told them the story because you don't really get much physical mail anymore, especially just something that's just saying hello. No cash this time. I'm a sucker for anything that's new. Vintage New York. What's vintage New York? Those towers right there. And I'm finally realizing, like, wow, since it's been 24 years since the towers went down, there's grown people out here who might not have any idea what the Twin Towers are. So here I am, Bronx, New York, where my auntie lives. She helped raise my brother, my sister, and myself. And she's not my blood aunt, but may as well be. My brother, sister, and myself got her a recliner this year, and I live closest, so I had it sent to me and I drove it in. She loved it, and we had plans for her birthday the following day to go out to eat. So in the meantime, I got some food at the New York spots. And that guy was so nice, man. He had such customer service for New York City, man. He treated me like he appreciated my business. I'm not one who's, big city guy, but I come here just for my aunt. I sneak in. I don't really do no industry stuff when I'm here. As a matter of fact, I haven't done any industry stuff in my travels for about almost 6 years now. If it's not family related, I don't leave. I'm getting to know this neighborhood half decently, and there's certain things and spots I like to hit when I come visit her. The pandemic affected me that way. It's just I don't like to leave the house like that unless it's for my family. And it also affected me where I got into baseball. But I'll explain all of that a little bit later. We're on our way to the restaurant. I had the brilliant idea of everybody looking at the menu beforehand, because I have this thing about I don't really like to go out to eat in large parties, so I like everybody to be ready. I don't know if that song is public domain yet. So everything went real smooth. The portions were huge. I ate some very high calorie food, but I knew I was going to be walking it off the next day. So my brother and I began to go around the restaurant to see the baseball memorabilia and the Italian American, some of the memorabilia of that culture as well. And Gary Sheffield is one of his favorites, especially from the Tampa area, his nephew Dwight Gooden, who I share a name with. And there were a lot of the tropes in there too. Sinatra, the Rat Pack, some of the figures, the Sopranos are there. It was, it was a nice restaurant. The food was excellent. It was just New York City, Bronx specifically. Afterwards, we went back to Auntie's, and it was time to get together and have some talking and spend some time. And when we were about to leave, we were taking a picture. And, this is a classic little funny moment here.
Okay, Drew.
Look right there.
Trying to get together, get this shot made.
This video.
Oh, really?
So stopped at Rosario, got the cigars, and now it's time to go to my favorite spot that I go to in this neighborhood, the Woodlawn Cemetery. This is a national historic landmark and also where Auntie's mother is buried. And she's right next to some incredible luminaries also. I'll get to that later. But as soon as you come through the Jerome Avenue entrance, soon you start to see this pure white mausoleum over here. It belongs to F.W. Woolworth and his granddaughter. In a previous episode, you saw me with this wooden replica of his first Woolworth store, which was actually in Lancaster, Pennsylvania. I have a line about Woolworth in my song Milk Thistle, and this Egypt and Kemet theme just, again, the rabbit hole goes deep, and I just want to poke my toes in it. That's it. One memory from 1983, shopping with my mother, she ended up buying me the Phase 2 Roxy, Tribe 2 What I Like, and Futura 2000 did the back covers, and I had to have them. And also this book called Subway Art, which changed my world. It's great to see Celia Cruz memorialized in this way, because when you put the type of time and the type of work that she's put in and had the impact that she had, you hope that she's memorialized in a proper way. That's the inspiration. It's just to continue to work hard to hope that you can earn and deserve something in a similar kind of fashion. Irving Berlin, his song God Bless America is getting a lot of run at baseball games right now. He passed away 89, right in the middle of the golden era of rap music at 101. And it's wild. I've walked the earth with people who was born in the 1800s. So now I understand kind of where people who are young look at us who born in the 1900s and kind of bug out. So I'm making my way to the climax of the cemetery for me, what I was speaking about before. This is the Hillcrest section, and specifically on the right of this shot, up that hill, that's section D4. And that's where Mama Claudia, which is Auntie's mother, that's where she is. And there's a lot of other people buried in this area that I'm sure you've heard of as well. And this right here, this is the crossroads. I come to the crossroads here. First, I pay tribute to Mama Claudia. And she's, from the greatest generation. She born in 1919. And she was the quintessential church lady in the best way that the term has ever been used. And if you look down from this hill, as I'm here, taking in her resting place. On the bottom of that hill right there, you can see this giant tree. This is where Duke Ellington and his family's been laid to rest. So they got the two crosses there flanking the tree, and that right there is Duke Ellington's specific memorial and grave. It always blows my mind that she's so close. And then as you make your way over a little bit to the left, Lionel Hampton, and I believe his wife is buried right over there. You would think like, wow, that's Duke Ellington, Lionel Hampton. Wow, that's pretty wild. But then you start making your way over here. It's fitting that Sir Miles Davis has the position that he does. And I love Miles because his final album was a hip-hop album produced by Easy Mo Bee. Miles at this age wasn't supposed to be exploring hip-hop. He was supposed to hate on it. And he also wasn't supposed to have the foresight to know who Easy Mo Bee was going to be capable of being. He was like the first person to really pick up on me, Easy Mo Bee, and give him this giant shot. So, that's another thing that just makes Miles brilliant. This is Illinois' Jacquet, as I hear Stanley Turrentine pronounce the name of his inspiration, but, it could be Jacquet. And then Max Roach is right here in the same section, again from the greatest generation, another evolving artist that never stopped evolving and just kept going. Jackie McLean inspires me to one day become an educator based off of what I know, this music thing. He just lived a life and taught about it. Now, the last time I was here, Ornette Coleman was not in Hillcrest D4. He was in a whole complete different section, so maybe that's why this temporary marker is here. But Ornette Coleman, he kept his head down, did the work, and just let the chips fall where they may. That's all I'm trying to do out here. So seeing this is always inspirational, just anything about Ornette Coleman, because he was real. He was real. He was the genuine article, definitely did the work. Oh, yeah, the camera fell. Now, this could be Cecil Taylor, but I'm not sure. It's not marked. I can't find the markings, but it could be Cecil Taylor. Diane Carroll is around here somewhere, but I couldn't find that. But I did find Roy Innis. I mentioned him in the first verse of my first album. Coleman Hawkins, he owns the song Body and Soul as far as jazz is concerned. And I was even so much expecting to see that on the tombstone because he's known for it so much. But it wasn't there, surprisingly. I did a lot more walking, a lot more thinking, and a lot of writing. I wanted to see where the father of the blues, W.C. Handy, was. I learned about him when I lived in Memphis, about 2006 to 2009. And he composed the standard St. Louis blues and so many more. He grew up in church, and learning this is how I began to form my theory about what soul music is. His life and most other musicians taught me that the revered jazz artists that ended up in New York City, but they weren't raised there per se. This helped me not be as intimidated by New York City rappers that I idolized before I turned pro in 1993. I wish I could still just be a fan, but once I turn pro, everything that is said, I have to eliminate from not saying. So it's just a distraction just to continue to listen to way more music than what you have to. This is where Augustus Juilliard ended up, and he dedicated his estate to advancing music. Eventually, they made the Juilliard School with his proceeds that he left. And Miles Davis even went there, a whole bunch of other luminaries as well. After leaving boarding school in 1991, originally I had some ideas of maybe studying music next after school, but I had a feeling that hip-hop was a higher calling for my generation. And all these years later, I can't believe I was correct. And we have Jay Dilla to thank for that, because traditional musicians didn't respect us across the board until him. So now, from what is referred to as the progressive generation, along with Du Bois and other people, is Madam C.J. Walker. She's buried here in Woodlawn as well, and she's one of, if not the first self-made female millionaires in the country. And I have plans to visit this for a while because she knows the importance of getting that bread. And that's something a musician like me has always tried to run from. So at one point, security must have seen me on surveillance, and being in there for a long time, I doubt people really walk around like I was that day. And he came through and gave me a ride because I was trying to come here to Brookside where Milt Jackson is, but I was kind of running out of steam and just couldn't find exactly what building he was in. I saw a couple other things. And so I came down to Webster Ave where they washed the cars, and somebody was getting a cherry red Ferrari wash. Look, do not stand still, post no bills. I think of the villain every day. But I'm just looking at the graph and enjoying it and whatnot. And this was like one of my last days in New York. So now I'm on my way to catch a flight to Tampa. I think of the villain every single day. He did that little mushroom mouth rhyme, I remember, because it was the leaked version. And I remember telling him, like, man, he was telling me, nah, I'm doing the vocals over. I said, man, I just don't know if you're going to be able to hit it again like you hit it on that demo. Even still, man, I love the new version too, but just that demo just sounds so raw and nasty. Man, the villain is the greatest. And I said that when he was here. I said it on wax when he was here, and it's not even close. First and foremost, I mess with who mess with me. And then on top of that, he's just best, And other than that, it's Snoop Dogg. Other than that, the rest is, you can fill in whoever you want. So again, I'm headed to Tampa now. I'm about to go see my siblings down there. And my brother and I have a tradition that we started since the teams guarantee matchup once a year in 2023, and he's a Tampa Bay Rays fan. We've bonded in our later years through baseball and sports. It affords me small talk, with awkward and troublesome conversations like religion and race and politics. It's hard to come off sincere when you merely talk about the weather, and a working knowledge of sports go a long way. This is me with no booze, but I'm enjoying a Coke Zero. I drink sodas on the plane. I try to save like these things for these certain situations. And so I say, I don't ever say I don't ever eat anything, but I have a time and a place that I eat certain things or drink certain things, but still no booze though. So we're coming in through the bay and going to land soon. But speaking of weather, March is a great time to get there because, Tampa, it's extreme heat, like where I live can be extreme cold. So, but you just can't put more clothes on like you can in the winter. You can only get so butt naked when it's hot like that. And so no matter how little clothes you wear, it doesn't help. You're still hot. And then Apple is trying to catch up with their little mapping cars. But now the season is about to begin. Dan Marino throwing out the first pitch. And Shock G right here representing the Sand Hill Cranes. Every time I see the Sand Hill Cranes in Florida, I know Shock G got my back. That's a brother I miss. He's going to be gone 4 years this month. It's my brother's dog, Boo. I walk her every morning when I'm there. They putting together the little spread. You know, it has that specific C word name, but I'm not going to sound crazy out here trying to say it. My nephew is turning 21, and so my sister had a little shindig for me. My nephew is on the YouTube.
No, I would not sit on that.
Tell him, say, is that going to get on the YouTube?
Is that going to get on the YouTube? How big is I've been
So
seeing
yeah, that's my nephew Blair and young Mark in the back. Went to church, my brother's church. He wasn't preaching that week. So the next day, was walking to the thrift store, saw a Sandhill Crane statue, and you know, it's more of the same. Last time I was here Thanksgiving, and some of the same CDs still sitting here, but this right here, man. See, this is what I mean by getting out in the field. Camelot music. When malls first started coming up, the record store in the mall was Camelot music, man. It just brings back those memories. Now, I'm a reference book guy. CDs still mean something to me, but I do see how some things can be antiquated, like these record books here. With Discogs, that's eliminated now. And the baseball encyclopedia, now that we have Baseball Savant, that's now eliminated. Pride and Prejudice, that's an audio version. I didn't get that, or Little Women. I haven't read either one of them. And I have classics I still have to read. When you ask me, have you read this book or have you listened to this new album? Man, I got a lot of stuff I still got to catch up on. Classics and records from the golden era that I couldn't afford to buy when they came out. So now that we have streaming, this is what stuff I'm trying to catch up on. But if it's after I came in the game, chances are, man, I can only observe it a little bit, but I can't really listen to it because anything that they say or anything beat I hear is going to be off limits. So I don't even want to take it in. So now I'm walking to the game. Game 1 is coming. And you see I got on the Key Brian Hayes jersey. I ended up meeting his father, but you'll see that in the next episode. I'm walking here across this bridge that they have where the parking is right where the Tampa Bay Buccaneers play over there. And then you walk over the busiest street in the city called Dale Mabry. This is where the Yankees training facility is, but because of Hurricane Milton, the Tampa Bay Rays have to play here this year. So this is where the game is going to take place. It's a small stadium, but there's a whole bunch of stuff involved with what's going on with their team. That's Hannah Mears, our announcer, and that was her on the actual broadcast, but now it's her over there doing it. O'Neal Cruz, one of our stars. And now it's time for the first pitch.
Let's go! Let's go, baby. Surge!
Yeah, we lose. Yeah, and that was it. We didn't do too well this night. 6-1, we lost. The like button is my offering plate. Click here for one of the other episodes. And that concludes this. I'll see you next time for episode 4.